points on the list. Live in the hills, but I still get a spread. Started with a little, but I still reinvest it. Fear how I feel, then you feel like a blessing. I just want the lesson, I just want protection. I'm up and I'm down, but they sound like progression. Farmer never plans if he waits for perfection. Finger to the down, hold it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I got your watch list coming in at December 27, 2021, and I'm gonna be buying 5 stocks tomorrow. Yes, there was a lot of news over the weekend. We are coming into this little New Year's Eve rally as well. There is going to be a lot of opportunity, and even though it's New Year's, we are going to be getting a full trading week. So we got to really talk about this. There's going to be a lot of other markets closed, but the United States, we are going all the way till Friday. Friday, the bond market will close early, but it is going to be a full trading day. So we're going to have a lot of excitement. There's a lot on the table. There's just even a bunch of different headlines over the weekend, varying from a lot of different industries. So there's going to be a lot of plays. So let us not delay. You guys know what you need to do. Drop your thumbs up on the video. Make sure you're subscribed. And if you don't know, we are live Monday through Friday, 30 minutes for open. It's the first link in the description and it's pinned in the comments. We better see you there in the morning. It's free 99. It costs you nothing to join. YouTube.com/TheStockMarket. You can post the plays, see the plays, watch the watch list come to life. And yes, if the long term came up at Christmas and you had to show people the long term and they were excited and then they weren't and then they were, but it came up at Christmas, then yeah, we are the place to be. And the most important thing you need to do, post or watch below. Let us know what you're looking at. Got any plays, comments, remixes, anything, post them below and source that info. Chat at the chat, baby. And please do not forget, today is Sunday, tomorrow is Monday. That is usually how it works. And best of all, we got the random account generator, and it has been now about 2 years since we started this with $500. So what we ask on this watch list, you post a random option trade, strike price, expiration date, all of that. Keep it below $100 in the morning. We do a random comment generator. We pick a random play, and then we buy it and see what happens. So chat, keep it up, and shout out to everybody who's posted. So right off the bat, coming into what we got this week, I am really focused on this New Year's rally. It's not really a thing. It's not like the Santa Claus rally, more or less, but I'm thinking, especially with the news that we got over the weekend, a lot of positive retail sales stuff, I think we're going to get some of this New Year's Eve rally, and then even getting into the new year, a lot of different industries and rotations, they may come to life. So things are looking good on that end. And like I said, we are going to be open all week, but now there is going to be a lot of countries closed, especially tomorrow. So if you've watched the video on the European close and understand the relay race, tomorrow, I mean, it should be overall bullish, I'd assume, unless the headlines kind of take more of a sour turn. There was some bad news, but for the most part, with every other market closed or a majority, we should be looking good. So tomorrow, Hong Kong, Australia, Canada, and the UK, their markets will be closed. There's like Boxing Day and like day after Christmas. Their holidays are a little bit weird. So it's like 26th to the 28th. Random countries here and there will be closed, but a lot of them will still be closed tomorrow, even after New Year's as well. But the US, our schedule is pretty clean. Pretty much we're just closed on the weekends, and we're not taking a day off for New Year's Eve or the day after. So let's go, baby. But coming into your first pretty picture, this is going to be the main thing, and this is why I am focused on this little New Year's rally. But you could see here the S&P this year has closed at a record high of 68 times, the most since 1995. It's funny how you didn't hit any highs in like 2000. It's crazy. You see there's a weird level of gap there, but this is something we were talking about last week. We were saying, okay, are we going to stay in the range? Are we going to hit a new highs? And now with Christmas, the holidays coming into the new year, this is pretty much going to be the final thing people are looking out for. You know, where do we close? Where are we at in terms of highs? And then what sort of foot does that get us on leading into the new year? So for the most part, we're watching the balancing this week, and it is going to be exciting, but there is a lot of bullish vibes, more or less. So we will see how that plays out. There will be some economic data, but it's not anything too crazy. We're going to get some housing data and a couple of manufacturing numbers, but nothing really important. And again, with most markets kind of on and off this week, there really isn't going to be too much crazy data besides the virus that is going to move things. And now coming into what happened here over the weekend, there was a lot of good and bad. So the first part, it was Omicron headlines that took over everything. Essentially, the numbers as far as cases has surpassed Delta, and even in China, they had their most COVID infections since last January. They closed some things down. There was even news with the airlines having to shut down because staff shortages due to people getting sick. So there was a lot of pretty negative headlines about the virus and kind of the case numbers. So we're going to see how that plays into tomorrow. And then on the positive side, there was a lot of China stuff. It was like positive and negative. China announced a lot of measures. They want to give more clarity on their easing, but they said they're going to support their market with kind of the real estate slumping. And again, last week they announced a lot of that easing, but then they did also say stuff on cracking down on a couple of their companies. So it was good and bad at the same time. But essentially over the weekend, it was a lot of Omicron headlines and then a lot of things that was both half positive, half negative in China. So we'll see how that one plays out. But for the most part, we're going to see how we open up in the morning. The only other news we'll get will be from China. Other than that, it should be pretty easy sailing. And then we will figure out where we are at by the end of the week. And that's going to be how many highs and the positioning people are getting ready for the new year. So coming into the company news and events, there was a lot of different things. And like we said, the virus cases, those surged across the globe. It wasn't just the United States. Even a lot of cities like New York, they announced all-time high numbers. So this is what got a lot of people paying attention to that. And then for the airlines, this is the report all across the world. There were crew shortages that led to about 6,000 flights being canceled. So that was pretty much the big majority of the negative news there. There is some positive on the back end we're going to go over, but we are really going to see kind of the attitude of this tomorrow. Even check out the vaccine stocks and all that. Remember, we had a lot of that FDA approval last week as well, too. So that was the first piece of news. Then the second one, this one's positive, and keep your eye out for this. We will be looking for plays on this, but a lot of the casino stocks in Hong Kong, they were actually doing good, or there's a lot of positive sentiment over the weekend because there was a positive Macau license renewal. So we're going to keep an eye on some of those. Remember, a lot of Macau numbers even clapped a couple of the casinos not too long ago. So keep your eye out for that one. Then MasterCard, this is the positive retail news. Their spending poll showed that the U.S. holiday sales jumped 8.5% from last year, with consumers spending more on clothes, jewelry, and electronics, and that they started searching and buying gifts earlier than ever before, and they're attributing this to the supply chain and all of that. So that was the positive news. You're going to get a lot of positive retail tomorrow. There was even some Barron's articles on like Target, Walmart, Costco, and how those have been positioned, and now this is kind of the icing on the cake, so we'll see how that plays into tomorrow. Then another piece of positive news just about the global economy. The global economy is set to surpass 100 trillion for the first time in 2022, and that's 2 years faster than previously expected, and this came from the Center of Economics and Business Research. So pretty big study. This could have a lot of the bullish vibes here, and even again, a lot of people talking about recoveries in certain industries. You know, that recovery trade from the pandemic. Think about the on and off we've had. A lot of people are looking at that to kind of come back here into the next year, and pay attention. There's going to be a lot of guidance for the economy, growth in industries that we're start to get here as the new year starts. But that was a pretty big piece of news. We'll see if there's any real effect for that tomorrow. Then Vice President Harris, she made a statement over the weekend saying that she nor the president is giving up on Build Back Better. So kind of injecting a little bit more of that hope. Remember, last week we kind of saw a little ups and downs, and now this is going to be a pretty big delay. We'll see how this plays out. But if the attitude and the headlines are hopeful, I mean, that's good until they're not. So we'll keep our eye out for that one. And then Russia, they fined Facebook and Google for about $100 million each for failing to remove banned content. Then Starbucks, another union organization attempt in Tennessee. So they had a little bit of a low blow, I think, a couple of weeks ago, but we'll see how this one keeps playing out. Again, these headlines are important, but they haven't made the stock go too crazy yet, but just watch out for that. Again, labor issues and even anything related to the cost of labor and all of that, that is a big, big issue coming in 2022, so keep that in mind. And then Tesla, they announced a free over-the-air software update to increase functionality across all of their models. And then on Twitter, Elon suggested that Roblox and other games may be coming to the vehicle. So somebody tweeted at him and said, hey, you need Roblox on there. And he said them along with some others, or he said a lot of others are going to be added. So it's just a suggestion, but we'll see how that one plays out. And then Walmart, they may get caught up in the China beef. There was reports in China, users in China were reporting that Sam's Club in China was not selling, or that they stopped selling items from Xinjiang. So we've seen a lot of that back and forth over the last couple weeks. Again, the House passed the bill. We got Intel last week, and then Intel apologized, and now it looks like Walmart is getting dragged into this mess. So we'll see what happens. And then Spider-Man keeps killing it at the box office. They have crossed the $1 billion mark. So best performing movie so far, I think, since the pandemic. So we've been talking about some of those plays. I'll keep my eye out for that. And then finally, this one, just the interesting one, but Janet Yellen's signature is not yet on U.S. currency. So usually the Treasury Secretary, they sign the currency, and when they start printing new money, their name is on that. Even pretty much all the money still has Munchkin's name on it. And it's a weird little technical reason reason here because they have yet to appoint a treasurer. So Yellen is the treasurer secretary, but they have not appointed the treasurer just yet. So they are not able to put her name on it. So it's probably like the longest delay so far, but interesting, fun news. We'll see if there's any other politics for the rest of the week, but very, very simple. We have a lot on our plate. Again, there's a lot of different news. We got a lot of plays. We're going to see if we get that New Year's rally, but no matter what, we are knocking on the door for a new year and a lot of opportunities and people positioning. It's about to happen, so I hope you're ready, but that is pretty much it. So let us get into the plays. So right off the bat, I got 5 or even more plays that I'm looking at coming into tomorrow. Again, I love the news cycle that we got over the weekend, and especially with some of those countries close tomorrow, I am assuming it will be bullish, but there's just a lot of different headlines to play both ways. Again, you got China easing as well as China crackdown. You got casino news. We got retail news. Then you got a little bit of the COVID news. So there should be a lot of movement in the market. And on top of it, for the beginning of the year, those rotations and positioning, that is going to be key. So coming into the first play, this one's going to be more of a hype play, but I am going to be eyeing Roblox. Obviously, I got all those shares, but I want to see if that Tesla hype kind of feeds into it. Again, the tweet was a suggestion, and with that, I pretty much think you should get a play on this tomorrow, but the hype is either going to be very, very short-lived or it'll get overblown. Like I'm saying, it's like it's big news, not big news. We saw what happened even with like Spotify when Elon added it to the Tesla, so it is overall positive news. I like that on a macro trend, but I don't know how the market is going to take it tomorrow, and that's why I'm thinking we could get an interesting reaction. If you saw Tesla on Friday too, a lot of people were excited, so we will see how that one plays out, but that's going to be the first play. I don't have any other plays. We have some of those old Januaries, and now this is where we could kind of learn from it. Again, we got those Januaries before everything got clapped. Remember, we were playing it both ways. I even have some put protection, and then we even got some of the covered calls here, but essentially a lot of those Januaries are all just claps. So if there is going to be a run up, these are the ones that might go crazy, but not too far at the money. I'm pretty much going to look for closer to the money if there is a play on that. So that's going to be the first one I'm watching. Coming into the second play, Nucor. I made this play on Friday, and I'm liking it coming into the New Year's. A lot of people have been talking about these rotations. Again, energy, industrials, materials, even financials. This is that global recovery play. Again, those stocks that are going to kind of do good related more to the economy. You've heard this before. It's kind of like we started it, then it got delayed, and now it's kind of happening again. You've seen how the materials held up. I even like them coming in pretty much seasonally. Right now, they're on the short end, but as we get into the new year, even like March, April, May, that's when they really kick off. So there's going to be a lot of cycles with these plays, but I like it. I wanted to get some exposure, but I did make sure I got a little bit of time, and I'm probably going to play this a couple of times. Again, Nucor can really move when it does, so I decided to get 2 of the April 140 calls, spent about $600, $295 a pop, so we'll see how that one plays out. They didn't really move too much on Friday, so keep your eye out for that one. Then coming into the third play, ASON. This is the one from last week. I did make an average down, so I still do like the upside and volatility of this stock, but essentially it's going to be bumpy until New Year's. I think it can move before then, but essentially what a lot of people are talking about is the underperformance in the software sector. So go look at ASON and a couple of others. We've seen a lot of them get just absolutely clapped off of the earnings. Those were the ones with high multiples. A lot of people took big losses. It kind of led to some of this rotation we got at the end of the year. So some people are a little bit worried about software. We're going to see if there's more end of the year liquidation, but if not, I think they have a lot of upside because they have pretty much sold off the most in the last month, and we've seen ASON move a lot. So as far as the average down, I did what I told you guys I wanted to do. I pretty much wanted to spend the same amount, but get closer to the money. So if you remember, we had the 115s, and I bought those at $2 a pop. So we waited for the average down. I was able to buy 3 of the 105s for about $230. I spent just about 10-11% more than I did on the original contract, but now we're $10 closer, but on the same amount of time. So February is an interesting expiration. We still could get clapped by decay, but we've seen ASON move, so hopefully we get some volatility. Those will come back to life, and you've seen me do this before. Usually, I'll take the better play. If I do make a lot on it, I can flip out of this one because it's bigger now than the other one, and I can make money on this, and then if the other one comes back to life, we still ride that one out, and then we've already taken profits. So we'll see how that one plays out, but I'm still really liking it. And then coming into the fourth play, this is just basically off that Macau news. We've seen a lot of Macau news back and forth over the last couple weeks, even over the last couple years. I know how the stocks react to this, so some like Win, even Las Vegas Sands, I would check some of those out. They can move there, but I'm not sure if it's going to be a guaranteed play, but I'm going to be keeping my eye out for this. We'll see them in the morning. And then finally, the retailers, Shopify, they got mentioned with the e-commerce stuff, but Target and Walmart as well. We have a play on Shopify and Walmart. Those are from last week, and even though Shopify's came up, but they were all mentioned over the weekend with that good holiday sales news. So I want to see if they do get juice, because some of them had the run up on Friday, but even then, like Target and Walmart, they've been kind of clapped there. So we'll see how that plays out, but I am liking that retail news. I'll even look out for like Nordstrom's and even Macy's and all of that. But coming into the rest of the plays and what we did on Friday, I did sell out of those Nordstrom's. We had like 30-40% on both of them. It was a small gain, so got out of those plays, closed out of that one. We had a Tesla weekly. I only made $100 off it, but those ones went up. It went up to like 200. It was ridiculous. It went up 200%, but that was beautiful. I sold out of the final Omicron for 306. Remember, we bought those, took the 20% on the big one, held one free, got out of that. I would even watch Omicron. I did make another play on Ford, and this is what I'm going to be watching. It's a weekly, and I just like how they're positioned in here. And again, if people start to position, even get excited, I went with the shorter term. I grabbed 100 of them, so it's $1,000 weekly, a little bit risky. I'll look to be flipping this, but I think, again, with a full week here, Ford may get a lot of attention. This is really going to be one of my favorites this week. And then I closed out of those Broadcoms. Remember, this one was a fat finger, and then if you remember, I think the week before, we got like 60% on this one or so. Remember that one? So I closed out of that one, but then I also had the fat finger one, and I sold out for more than I fat fingered. So it should have been a loss, but we ended up with the gain on that one. That was a big position, so I'm out of that, but still going to keep my eye on Broadcom. These were up 30%, but again, if we get some of that safe haven move, I am going to watch how people position. And then I'm still holding that UAL from Thursday, and that one, I think it closed barely break even. So a couple of weeklies on the table. We'll hope that we get some of that hype there tomorrow. As far as everything else, like I said, we're going to be watching the Roblox. Ford is probably going to be my secondary favorite play that's not up on that list, so going to be watching that tomorrow. Then even NVIDIA, again, Micron did good, and just see if the chip makers and even like Microsoft, again, if some of these leaders, if they do start to get momentum here. A lot of the premiums are kind of coming back, so there's some names that were breaking out and really leading last week. Watch for some of these big names that were really leading the way a month or two ago. If they do start to come up, this could be a great week to do it. Then Tesla, just keep your eye out for them. That was a big move on Friday. It brought them back up to the level. If anything, there might be good trading opportunities. We had some luck with that on Friday, so we'll see what happens. Then Uber, really going to be watching us. Again, we got like 22% since the long-term pickup, but they're at a very interesting point. A lot of the leaps are still down. Even the shorter terms, we sold out of that far out the money play, so I will want to double dip, but I just want to see it because it's either going to go crazy or it might start to stall out. But if it does keep getting momentum, that would be great. Target and Walmart, like I said, with retail, we made some of those other plays, but they've kind of both been down. So if we do get hype news on those, I think those could be awesome value plays, so watch them. Even Amazon, they were kind of lagging a little bit on Friday. We had a couple of different plays. There was some antitrust news, so that could be kind of negative, but watch out for that one. I think Amazon will still be one to keep an eye on. Then Airbnb, I didn't realize I didn't have this screen on. I was going through all of these charts. I don't even know when. That means you guys probably just didn't even see all of these. So here are all the plays. Yeah, but I love you. God bless you. I think you got it, though. You got to pay attention. You got to listen. You got to listen. But Airbnb, going to be watching them again. I think a lot of the travel and what we saw last week, again, UAL, a lot of them came up. There's a lot of opportunity, but they have ran up. So we'll see how some of those headlines factor in. And then finally, it says Shopify, still like that one too. But TLT and the dollar, like I said, I don't think we're going to get a big move till the new year starts. But watch, if it does start to lead, it may slip up or down, and then that will be the key. And then the dollar, again, a lot of different headlines. We'll see with even more China easing news how that plays out, but it's still kind of pretty much in the same position. So we will wait and see. It's still kind of a holiday weekend for the rest of the world, but we still might get some action. At the very least, equities will move. You may not see the rest of the global currencies as well as bonds. They don't have to move just yet, but if we get lucky, we might get a snitch. So I hope you're ready. But that is your watch list, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure hydrate healthy, ready to go. Make sure post your watch list. Make sure we see you there in the morning. I need the armor on. I need the helmet shine. I need you to remember. You got to get ready to work, baby. But Nicole loves you. I love you. And we'll see you in the morning. Let's go.